Hey guys, what's going on? Shaw here, and today we are back with another weekly vault video. So we're gonna really just dive right into this one. I was able to obtain vaults on 5 of my 6 tanks this week. I unfortunately put my DK on the bench for a bit, so yeah, nothing else to say to that. DK is a trash tank. No one should ever play DK. It's so bad right now. Oh god. The comments that I might get if I put that in the video. Okay. We are actually going to start on the Paladin this week, I think. I actually got a vault on my Shaman. I did Raid Finder on my Shaman, so I could open that vault, but I think I'll leave that for later. Alright, let's jump onto the Paladin. So this week, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be an Inspiring Grievous week, with the Fortified Affix active, as well as, of course, Encrypted. There's a few things to keep in mind with those dungeons, so towards the end of the video, you can feel free to skip ahead if you'd like, if you don't care about my vaults. And I will probably talk a bit about Inspiring and what that will mean for some of your routes. Alright, so the Paladin isn't looking for much. We go over this every week. A nicer scale would be kind of cool. That's better than 252 from last season. I just haven't done a lot of keys this season on my Paladin. It's very unlikely we'll get an upgrade. More than likely we're going to end up taking coins, and we might end up socketing something. That would be my kind of assumption that will happen, but let's see. Pants that I don't really want, and a cloak that I already have leech on. We're going to go for coins and call that a day. That was a quick vault. So I now have 12 coins, which I think is the max. You can only hold 12 coins. So I would want to spend these at some point. If I don't think I'm going to end up socketing anything, like for example, I already have a socketed ring, I could socket my bracers at 272. My neck is a BOE that's already has a socket on it. My belt has a socket and my helm. So I could socket bracers for fun, just to have like that extra socket spot. I could also socket something like this ring that I've been holding onto for a while now. I can upgrade this to 272. I have access to then a haste first ring over a haste master ring. So there's a few options that I have here, but I don't think I'm going to do anything just yet. I'm going to really just bank on it if I ever do start to play the Paladin a little bit more seriously. As of right now, my Paladin is really only used for like 20 to 22, 23 range when we need a poisonous spell and I'm bored of the monk, which very rarely happens. So we're going to just jump onto the next character. All right, next we're going to do our DH. Our DH last night at today, I guess at like 3 a.m. I ran one last key for the week. I needed one more key for Vault, and I looted a scale, so I was pretty jazzed about that. So I replaced my 239 scale, which puts my DH at a 277, which is pretty nice. A Codex, believe it or not, would actually be decent. Outside of that, I think like a better cloak, like it's already 278. In the Catalyst, it goes, I think, crit mastery with heavy crit, which is actually worse stats, so that's why I'm keeping this at 278 on the Drape of Titanic Dreams. Obviously, like anything like better tier, I'm still wearing heroic tier in the glove, pant, and chest slot, or like a better ring. So it's like I have a lot of good gear. It's just like maybe a Codex. So we're gonna double check Vengeance, and we're gonna just jump in. So I got a Raid Finder piece. Nice. Maybe I take this for Transmog. Wait, that's actually kind of sick. I feel like Quantum's... Is Quantum bad? I feel like Quantum might be bad. So I could socket ring. I could socket these bracers, which I probably wouldn't do. Or I could socket helm. I think I go socket helm, actually. I already have this cloak, which that's so unnecessary, Blizzard. It's so unnecessary. Yeah, we're gonna go coins. And then of course, just like last week, we're gonna buy one of these bad boys. We'll throw this in the helm, and then we're gonna be able to grab a verse gem from our guild bank because our GM's a beast. And we'll socket this bad boy. All right. I'm always happy to get an extra socket on a 278 item. That's always super, super nice. That means the chance of me replacing it is very, very slim, unless I somehow ripped like a 278 tier helm from my vault that had like a tertiary stat. That's like the only time I would ever replace it. Tertiary meaning speed, avoidance, or leech. Alright, so next we're going on to our Brewmaster. Our Brewmaster is a tank that we're starting to push on a little bit more. I was able to attempt and time some 24s as well as attempt some 25s last week. Unfortunately, we kept breaking keys on 25s for unknown reasons. So this is a character I've been playing a little bit more aggressively. I am only 3k IO, but as you can see, like last week I kind of got 23s across the board on Tyrannical Week. Not across the board, but a good chunk of them. So, big fan of the Brewmaster. There isn't much I could actually get. I've been running cash. I have a 252 scale, which is like fine. The only problem, I have a 239 Anhiled. I always say that wrong. I feel like I am missing a lot of gear still. Like, I need a better helm. Kind of just like better chest or gloves would be cool. Maybe better boots. What do we get here? Of course I get an Endless Feast. Crit Mastery, Haste Verse. A little disappointed with this vault, holy shit. What can I socket, I guess? I can socket my helm, which would kind of be a waste. I don't know what to do here. Because I have 278 weapons, that's not the problem. I have 278 boots, and I have 278 rings, and this Bells of Endless Feast is pretty trash for Brewmaster. I think I go coins. I don't think it's worth me. When pushing hierarchies, versatility is really important, and none of these pieces have verse except this ring, but I'm already running Unity Ring. The only option I could see is like I could drop the Unity Ring for a different Unity item. For example, like I have 5 set on right now, so I could easily drop like gloves, for example, and I can turn my Unity into gloves, take the 278 ring, which would be an item level upgrade. But this ring doesn't have a socket on it, so that would be another issue. I think I go socket. Yeah, I go socket here. These vaults are really sad, honestly. That's okay. So the item I would probably end up socketing, I mean, the only item I can socket is either helm or bracers. Now, the only other thing is I have raid tonight. And if we go into here, I'm going to be killing a few bosses. Do any of them drop helm? So Prototype Pantheon drops a helm, which I can then turn into tier, but that's only in the instances where it like actually drops. So part of me wants to hold out on socketing something for a little bit, because I can socket either bracers or helm, and bracers aren't 272, nor is the helm. That kind of helps my decision not to do anything. I have a chance at looting different items. Let's see about bracers. Do bracers come from any of these bosses? My guild's bad, so we only clear the first couple. No bracers. I think Skull Extras bracers. It's haste first though. What do they roll into? I know I can go to Wowhead to look this up, but we're gonna actually go to... We're gonna just fly to the Creation Catalyst to check this out. Let's see. We're gonna go to Haven. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure... Never mind, I'm thinking of my DH. I have a lot of like useless gear in my bags. I gotta fix that. We got 24 mists for this week. Mists is a rough key or it can be a rough key on inspiring weeks. Not impossible, just tough. But Grievous, I'll talk about those affixes in a second. All right, Creation Catalyst. We can come here. We can throw bracers in to see what they'll turn into. They'll turn into low haste, high verse, which is kind of good. So if and when my boss kills or my guild kills Skullx and I get the bracers, I can turn them into higher verse gear. Oh, that was so close. That would have been a death sentence, right? Oops. So that's what I think I'll end up doing on this character is I'll wait to see what my raid does, and then if I happen to get the bracers, I can turn them into tier. and I can socket them, which will actually be a huge upgrade. I know Haste Verse isn't the greatest stats for Brewmaster. Obviously, I'm going to be losing a lot of crit, but 278 Haste Verse, I won't complain. Then I can swap around like my Unity. Like right now, my Unity is Haste Verse. I know I should probably change that to something else like Crit Verse or Mastery Verse, but we are fine for a bit. All right, cool. We'll head here and log out. I'm flying 40 seconds, so I can have an instant log out where I could have just logged out there, right? Oh well. All right, now we have the Warrior. I'm just gonna do this live. So if you weren't able to catch my stream, which I did 2 days in a row. That's crazy. I streamed twice in a row, guys. One, you can watch those VODs on my Twitch channel. Link will be in the description. But on top of that, I also was able to get a few 15s and higher done. I was able to get a 17, a 16, and a 15 done last week. And I think I ended up getting 2 15s. So I should have 278 options in the vault. So the chances of me taking like coins is going to be extremely low, which is pretty exciting. I plan on streaming my progress a little bit more in this character, and then I'll take clips and stuff and I'll turn that into the video. So that's like the plan going forward. So we got, wait, that's actually fucking massive. Holy shit. Okay. All right, so let's do a quick breakdown of what I have going on right now. I'm 256. I still have a 226 cloak, 226 ring. I was able to yeet a scale from a box that I gambled on. Some of you might be thinking that I sent Valor over. I actually gambled my own Valor. I haven't sent any Valor over to this character. The box was introduced at the start of 925, and I was like, I'm going to buy one box, just one. We're going to gamble it. It's 500 Valor. I'm going to throw it away. It's whatever. The first thing I pulled was a scale. The first thing I pulled was a scale. It was insane. So I've been slowly upgrading it. Anyways, that doesn't really matter too much. I have 255 tier, 246 gear, 272 gear, so the chest is in a pretty good spot. I was able to upgrade this all the way. I also have best in slot bracers at 272. I was able to pull my best in slot weapon from a mist at haste verse. My shield's a little bit lower at 246. And then I've still raid finder pants, and I have better gloves that I looted from a dungeon and I turned into tier. My stat priority is pretty much haste verse, mastery, crit. And there are better pants at for the pants slot. There's haste verse pants from Halls of Atonement, but I think taking the galvanized oxen leg guards is going to be the play. The helm I can turn into tier, yes, but the pants are a little more specific because the tier, no matter what helm I loot, will always turn into the tier helm with the tier stats on it, where these leg guards, this is probably my second best pair of pants. I think the ones from Halls are better, but Haste Mastery is still pretty strong. I think most warriors would agree. I might be wrong about that. Who knows? I think the leg guards are the play. Plus they're the higher itemable upgrade from 239 to 278 compared to a 255 that I can also upgrade. So we're going to go with the leg guards, I think. All right. That is a massive 2 itemable upgrade on the pants. We're looking good, man. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I actually pulled these, or I got these from a M0, and I've been holding on to them. I was like, maybe I'll upgrade them if I can't get a good pants in the near future. I can upgrade them, or I can turn them into tier, or whatever I might need to do. And now I can get rid of them, which is pretty exciting. I have enchanting on this character, so we're actually going to turn this into a crystal, which we can then throw on the auction house for, I think, less gold than I could have just sold them for. So that's pretty cool. And now we just need to get we need to fix the X-Mog, which I plan on changing soon. I've been running this transmog for a long time now. And we apply that, and we're looking fucking fly as fuck. Let's go. All right, last but not least, we have our Druid. The Druid, I was able to get a ton of keys on this week. Last week was a pretty good push week. For people who are watching this right when it comes out, if you're in the EU, it still might be push week. It's not great, but it's a week that you're not really being held back by a lot of things. Trash dies extremely quickly. Raging isn't that scary of an affix, and then Volcanic is like a non-affix for the most part. This is still in progress? Jesus Christ. I'll have to come back then. Just taking care of chores while I'm here, you know? As you do. We'll sell junk. By the way, a bonk. I think that's your name. You, sir, are my idol. I followed your bear on YouTube since I started back and found you on my server. Top quality videos that have really helped me a lot. Dude, I treasure these fan mails, by the way. If you send me fan mail, I hold on to them. I keep them forever in my inventory or my bank, and I'll always look back at them like every day. So, thanks, dude. Thanks for the mail. I got it. I think I replied. I normally reply to them. Area 52, baby. US. Maybe I should go Alliance. I don't know. It's hard to go Alliance on a bear. Because, like, you can go Night Elf. Like, you're limited, right? You can go Night Elf, or you can go Worgen, or you can go Zandalari. Not Zandalari. Kultiran. Kultiran is kind of a... Kultiran's a meme. Worgen is good for PvP. If you're like a flag carrier, like having Dark Flight is just another sprint. And then... Night Elf lets you Shadow Meld, but that's not very useful in a tank situation where Cow gives you an AoE stun, which you don't have in your toolkit normally as a bear, and you have versatility or stamina or something. I don't know. I'm too lazy to look. Actually, no. I'm going to look because I need to know. I'm pretty sure it's health. Critical Strike, Endurance. No, that's racial. Yeah, 70. So you get more health. So more stam. And Frenzied Regen is a % health based scale, so it heals you for more if you're a bear. Or if you're a cow. If you're a cow bear, it's the life, man. The bear needs almost nothing. A 278 scale would be great, or better boots. Everything else is pretty much BIS. I have a 278 codex that I run. I have a 252 and Hild. I always mess that up. I passed on the sigil last week, so one thing that I did last week is I decided to take this belt. If you watched the video last week, I kind of went back and forth. I was sitting there for like 30 minutes at my bear's vault just trying to figure out what to do. The avoidance is a really strong stat in higher keys. A great example of this is we are running a 26 Sanguine Depths. Berlia, which is the third boss, hits like a truck. Whether you're a tank or you're not a tank. So that's the right of supremacy. So this is AoE damage. Avoidance is a flat DR. So like let's say right now my cloak enchant is giving me avoidance instead of leech. That's 2%. This belt would shoot me up to 6%. So a 6% flat damage reduction for anything coded as an AoE. There's tons of things that are coded as an AoE in all dungeons. I don't want to go through it here, but so my thought is get this belt. If my vault's bad this week, I'm going to put a socket on it. If it's good, I'll take whatever's good. Probably if it's like a scale or boots here. If it's not good, take socket, put it on belt, move unity to boots with haste verse, and then I should shoot up to 278 or 279. And then the other option is the only time it's going to be a good vault is if I get scale. So we're going to double check Guardian. That's my thought process. It might work, it might not. But avoidance, if you can get it, don't go after it. It's not worth X amount of item levels. Shit. Okay. Probably going to take Vault here. Or not Vault. We're probably going to take coins. Don't chase avoidance. It's not a stat that's worth actually going after unless it's like on a 278 piece you can turn into tier, or it's going to be on a piece you actually need. And it's really just for someone who's pushing probably like upwards of 24s. Avoidance becomes really powerful. So we got Indestructible, Haste Mastery, probably not taking. Verse Mastery, Bracers, no tertiary stats. I already have Haste Verse with sockets. And of course, a Haste Verse Staff. Wait, this is actually a hard decision. Okay, hold up. Oh man. My haste is already so high. Like, I want less haste. Oh man. Fuck, dude. I was hoping for like an easy clear cut. Pick your scale or pick your socket. And now I didn't even think about a weapon. I got this weapon. I don't know what it is about my Guardian Druid, but every season since season 3 of BFA. If you remember BFA, they had the weekly chest. It wasn't a great vault. It wasn't like you could pick. You just open it up and you got an item. It could have been any item. It was stupid. It was only, I think it was only Mythic Plus, wasn't it? Or could it be from, I don't remember if it could be from Raid. But I always get a weapon week 1. So I looted this week 1. I figured high haste, find, crit, whatever. I'm probably going to get versatility on all my other pieces. Verse. This one obviously is tier. Verse. We have verse. Verse. Like, so you can control those stats. So I figured like it'd be fine. But now that I have a haste verse staff in my vault, it's high haste, so not perfect. But the extra verse is really good. I lose crit. I feel like I would only take this if it was heavy verse, which I think that I think a polearm like that does exist, if I'm not mistaken. I think it comes from, I think it's theater. I think it's Zav's Pike of Authority. So this one would be ideal. And I don't think I'm gonna take the heavy haste because I think my haste is already a little high. I don't like where my haste is at. It's like there's like haste breakpoints. This is gonna turn into a long fucking rant, so I might cut this out, I might not, but there are breakpoints that you'll hit where your thrash is able to be used 1 global sooner. And you can test this by literally just hitting thrash and then hitting an ability afterwards. So swipe, thrash. So that's ideal. Is thrash, swipe, thrash. Thrash, swipe, thrash. So it's like you want it to land on that global. And I think that breakpoint actually happens around the 24% haste. And the reason you want to hit that, be able to hit thrash every 4th global, is because of your legendary that you run. You want to get as many thrashes out as possible to get the biggest absorbs, so your healing looks like this, because this is from the legendary alone. Just massive. It also will attribute to potentially more damage because of thrash procs, but nonetheless, I don't think more haste is the play, because this is heavier haste. It would give me 4 extra haste, 67 versions, and I would lose 70 crit. My crit feels fine. It's affecting my lightning reflexes, which is giving me additional dodge chance. So like crit's not a bad stat. It's not something you ever want to stack. If anything, I would want this to be like, if this was verse mastery, maybe. Yeah, I think I go coins this week. I don't know if it's worth going through the whole process of like swapping stats around. As in like showing you guys that process, but we're gonna come here, we're gonna grab this, we're gonna throw it on our belt. Just making sure it's the right one. Sockets on the belt, so now we have avoidance on that, so we're gonna take a verse gem, do this, pop that here. And now, that's the only other thing. That's the only thing I'm a little nervous about is, oh, I should have waited on that for sure. We raid tonight. I had another chance to loot Pantheon boots. Shit. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that, honestly. Okay, I regret my decisions. I don't regret them. I just like, I know what's gonna happen. Since I did this, the boots are gonna drop. I had this all planned out in my head too. Like last week, I sat at my vault for like another 2 hours on like Sunday. Like Sunday afternoon, I woke up and I still hadn't picked my vault yet. And I was like, I need to go and choose something. I had a sigil. I had this belt. And then I had 2 other like trash throwaway items. But like a sigil, a 278 sigil and a belt was like, it was a lot of thinking. Let's try to put these on boots. And then we can do verse mastery on boots as well. And I'll lose 40 haste, but that should still put me at that nice sweet spot for the 4th global thrash. All right, let's see. I think these might cost more than I have. I might have to transfer some gold around. Rune carving. Actually, it might be easier just to go feet. Oh, they're only 11k. We're chilling. And then we also need our missives, right? All right, so we have our boots, our missives. I'm gonna put this key up here. What key did I loot? 25 Plaguefall. Actually, that's actually kind of big. That might be, my Plaguefalls are really low still. And the reason they're low is because for the longest time I was pushing with a Resto Druid. And when you push with a Resto Druid and a Druid, a Guardian Druid, you don't have a disease dispel. So things can get out of hand very quickly. So more often than not, whenever we would be pushing a Plaguefall, I would play Brew or Prot. And that's pretty much the option. Don't judge me. I am not exalted yet, and I probably never will be. I should be. I should have been working for that a long time ago. So if we open up this bag, we should get, yep, 1650, 15, or 51 to 50. I do not miss going here. I mean, as a druid, it was okay because I was able to just travel form, but oh man, I was running past paladins and DKs, and I'm like, oh man, you guys are losers. Though I was doing Necrolord Torghast on my Brewmaster. I was leveling up my Brewmaster's Necrolord renown. And I kind of miss it. Like, Torghast is actually a lot of fun when you don't have to do it every day or every week. Like, I went back in there and I started grinding renown. And like, I didn't need resource. I mean, I was grinding renown, like I was there for a reason, but like I was enjoying the process of just like rolling through a floor, getting like some broken ass powers and just like smashing stuff. Like if you haven't done Torghast in a while, just go back and run it once. Wait, what am I doing? Upgrade? No, we're crafting, baby. So we're gonna go boots. We're going to go unity. We're going to go, oh, okay, I have a missive crit. I'm not using it though. Mastery. We got verse. And we're gonna craft these bad boys, these bad Larrys. And now we have this little wombo combo. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to go enchant Eternal Agility on the treads. I think we're good, right? So I have my main guardian set, and then we can put on belt, legendary, and I should be at 278 now. Nice, I went up one item level. That belt is hideous, so we're gonna go fix that. But the reason I'm doing mastery instead of haste or instead of crit or some other stat is that mastery has a direct scaling effect with the tier set's damage. The tier set damage is very important. At the end of a key, it ends up doing a good portion of your damage. I was playing Night Fae in this key, actually, so that's why my damage breakdown might look kind of odd. Where was I coming? I was coming out here to do something. Oh, transmog. Well, transmog, and we are good to go. All right, that was a long fucking process, and I'm now going to have a lot of fun editing that. All right, so that's my 5 characters this week. 5 tanks, Blood DK, just being ignored. If I ever do a key on it, I'll obviously open up the vault, but it won't be anything like crazy. All right, cool. Let's talk about routes. And when I talk about routes, I want to talk about the generalized idea of this week's affixes. So let's open up, actually Sanguine's a great place to start, but we're not going to start there. We're going to start in DOS. And I'm sure Dratnos will have routes on this already. Let's clear, delete all drawings. And then we want to clear routes. All right, so this week it is an Inspiring Grievous. There are a few Inspired Moms. DOS is actually really not that bad when it comes to like Ardenweld, but it is really scary when it comes to these pulls. So this is a very good week to have some type of prioritized targeting. Frost Mages are really good at this. Outlaw Rogues are really good at this. In-hand Shamans are really good at this. And like Demonology, Warlocks, Arcane Mages are very good at like specializing onto one target. These pulls here, some groups even CC mobs out. Sometimes like you can CC this person call this out. It depends if you want to like pull it in later or after something specifically has died. What is really nice though is that your the urn here will stun this pack. So this pack's really not that bad, but again, it is also Fort Week. Fort Week, these guys are going to be pretty beefy, and on top of that you also have Grievous. So once you start taking those bolts and you're in Grievous, you're going to be taking more damage as a tank, as well as your group will take more damage if they ever get hit by like the frontal or something. Actually, the frontal will probably kill them in a hierarchy. Same thing with this side, less casters, but there is still, you don't have the ability to watch this Death Speaker. So you're going to want to make sure you're purging the Death's Embrace on the target, which increases their haste by 40%. Mages can spell steal, super nice. This pack is, this hallway is also really scary. This priest, pull it back away from here, and your DPS need to kill this. Sometimes tanks will run in here first, and they just head straight in, thinking that their DPS are going to know what to do. Wait for your whole group to be chilling right here before you make any decisions. Death Knights can grip this guy back. Also, if you just grip it, and you can literally just like hit it with anything as a tank, and then run outside. Don't worry about it. This pack, don't chain here. Like chaining this priest into this is bad. Kill this priest first before you chain if you want to go into this. Luckily, this is on the priest. The priests are typically priority. Just kill this guy as fast as possible. And then your Hexer, he probably won't cast the healing wave until the priest is dead. So you're fine there. If not, you can always like, this priest should start running away if your damage isn't where it's supposed to be. This guy will be running away. The guy will start casting. Once he's out of range, you can kick the heal and you're chilling. All right, I'm gonna kind of turbo through these. Halls is really actually not that bad of a key on Inspiring Week. They're mostly Houndsmasters, so you're already able to stun them. The only thing is it's really difficult to kite the Gargans. On Fortified Weeks, this is really scary, but for the most part, just a lot of times groups end up skipping these anyways. That's like the only big thing. There are inspired mobs in here, like this Gargan. I death skip this. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say death skip, you can go watch my Halls video. I explained it in there. And then this Collector, little spooky. You can still kick Collect Sins, but you can't kick the bolts, which the bolts do a ton of damage to your tank. And obviously, like, the Curse Dispel will, like, it will get off, so you need to be able to dispel the curse. Miss of Tirna Scythe, the only room that's obnoxious, and this is all completely RNG. I mean, obviously you have some stuff at the start, like if you do this pull, you can still kick the Harvester, not bad, but you can't like leg sweep or ring or like kite. This Soul Cleaver, you should try to CC out, and then you can pull it in with this pack. So this, and again, this is like at a higher level. In Pugs, you probably don't need to coordinate it that much. CC this mob out, split 3, and then pull it into this pull, because you don't need to CC these guys. This pack right here is a double tender, and the defender is inspired. This pull sucks. If you can or want to, CC this defender out until at least one of the tenders is dead. If you have a Blood Elf in your group or a priest, also okay, but not being able to kick the Nourish the Forest is going to be devastating. I've seen this room literally take 3 minutes to get through because no one we don't kill the defender in time, and then the heal gets off, and then the defender goes back to full health, and we don't have purges or people aren't purging. So this room is if you go basically straight, or if you go left. If you go right, you probably won't see this room, or it's a very rare chance you'll see this room. Not very often does it have you go like here. You would go here, 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 here. Like, it's not going to have you do this like little loop-de-loop, because this is way too much trash for the maze, I think, typically. Or maybe it's not. Who knows? The maze is weird and mysterious. It's very unlikely, but if she goes straight, you're going to get this room for sure. If she goes to the side, there's a chance it'll go here, 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 and then back down, which is another possibility. It's rare, it's uncommon, but it can happen. So that's the only part in the maze. Also, if you like down here, if you do this double pull, there is an acid gullet, so you're not going to be able to kick the Gorger. Be careful on the double pull this week. These pulls are all fine. And then these larvas, they typically die. Like, let's check this up to just 25 just to like look. Yeah, look at their health. Like 232k compared to the 1.6 mil. They have a fifth of the health pool. These dudes get obliterated before anything actually gets cast. Something you could do is you could just CC it out. So like what you can do is like you can CC this acid gullet out, and then pull. You can double pull, and as soon as the Spine Gorger is low, or you feel like you have your purge ready or whatever it might be, just pull it in. This is a sorry, wrong one. Staghorn. It absorbs magic damage. So if you're running a very heavy physical comp, Simulated Resistance isn't actually that bad. It's this that is kind of nuts. It heals a good bit. It's interruptible. If it's going off, like, you can still kill the mobs through it. That is very possible. It's just a little annoying. Yeah, so that's Mists. Plaguefall. Oh god. Yeah, no disease, no dispel route. Yikes. Yikes. If you're skipping the whole front, not bad. If you are pulling this area, which I never do, but if you do, you have to be careful of these soldiers, because the Fungi Stormer, these dudes are the guys that do big AoE damage to your group, and it's Fort Week. So you gotta get these. You gotta prioritize this. You can actually skip this pull if I'm not mistaken, but it makes this area a little tight. But you can actually completely skip this one. These inspired guys in here don't really matter as much, outside of the fact that you can't like AoE stun this pack, which a lot of groups do. But if your tank knows how to rotate CDs, this pull gets obliterated. This pull, like, these caster pulls, like be careful pulling in slimes. Like some groups like will, when it's kind of hard to see because there's like patrols and stuff down here, but after first boss you're pulling this group. Some people like to tag these slimes onto barrel to get like efficiency. You won't be able to kick any of the slimes here, so that's like kind of scary. Same thing here. If you try to like double this onto barrel, just know you can't kick anything, so you kind of have to take this area slow. Luckily this dungeon is stupid forgiving. You won't be able to kick your pestilence slime here, not a big deal. I mean, it's a little bit of group damage. With this gushing slime, so what some groups do, or at least what my group does, is we pull back this slime, grabs this defender, and I pull it back to here. What I then do is I'll also grab this side, and we'll grab a relic. We'll pull this all into one. You need to make sure that you keep the defender about 10 yards off of the giant slime tentacle, because you won't be able to interrupt the bulwark. And then as soon as the bulwark comes up, the bulwark of Maldraxxus, you can like pull everything off, and then you can just stun the slime whenever it grabs someone, and then that's fine. Like this, and then this slime will die pretty quickly. Just make sure you purge it so you have floor space to work with. And then that's pretty much it. Like some of these are kind of annoying. Like this defender, you can CC the bulwark, but on the other side you can't because it's on the sniper. Just keep the defender a little bit away from the sniper. It's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of tactical positioning, and then the last area doesn't matter because there's no inspired mobs. All right, Plaguefall done. Sanguine Depths. Just create a new route here. See what we're working with. This dungeon's super annoying. First pull doesn't matter. Second pull doesn't matter too much. Some people skip this. Some people do it. I pull this. These ticks. These ticks do their engorge, which like sucks the life out of whoever they're targeting. It does a ton of damage. If they target the same person, like if two ticks target the same person, it's real scary. And you want to make sure you're kicking this, because depending on how many stacks they have of their engorge, it actually does more damage of the gluttonous burst. So you gotta kill them really fast in fortified weeks. Same thing here. I've seen some groups CC like one tick, that they CC this tick out and they focus down the other two, and then they kill this by itself or something. Very possible. Just depends on what your group wants to do. Same thing here. There's a lot of casters in this place, so it's going to be very difficult to like get kicks. So make sure you're not over committing. Like I've seen some people like pull this, and this. That's a bad idea. This week I might pull this and this maybe for percent, and then maybe you can pull this into here, because these acolytes should go down pretty quickly. Should. Depends on CDs. Depends on if you're routing. Some people skip through here. Who knows? This oppressor is a little. It's like a lot of these packs just have like, you can't kick the fury, so make sure you have a curse to spell. Yeah, the Sanguine is a shit show. Sanguine is such a shit dungeon this season. It's normally like I used to love Sanguine. It used to be my favorite dungeon, but now it's like I dread coming in here. Doing the 26 yesterday was like, I wanted to shoot my brains out. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Sanguine. There's nothing really inspired all the way till the very end, and it's a huntsman, and then the rest of these like dogs, they just get obliterated. So your Sanguine starts really rough. Like between second and third, or between first and third boss is just like a shit show. And then you have the gauntlet. And then you also have all the trash before the first boss. So basically the entire dungeon is a shit show. Just be careful on inspiring. Make sure you're tunneling. This is a very easy dungeon this week. The like Spires. Only thing is the very first pull, a lot of groups will do this, and Goliath. Be a little careful with that. Try to maybe pull this group back without Goliath. You can always pull Goliath to the top of the stairs. Actually, there's inspired there too. I lied. Once the Vanguard dies, you can pull the Goliath in for cleave. But if you can't kick the Rebellious Fists, there's a few ways around it. Either hearth out and go to a different key, or you can outrange it. So it's 30-yard range. You can outrange it as range. Melee can get out really quickly if they need to. The tank will probably be fine from the damage, but it'll also apply Grievous to everyone in your group, so that's another factor. So I recommend trying to do the Goliath a little bit more solo this week. Outside of that, most of the pulls are pretty fine. There's nothing crazy with inspiring. CC the Mender out, not a big deal. You can always CC Mender out and pull it in with boss for 3-target cleave. Pretty effective. You just have to be a little bit careful of like the bird. Just like you have to, it's just more clutter for like, it's hard to see the visuals of where the bird's facing. That's like the only problem with it. don't chain this. Some groups like to grab like this pack with the Goliaths. You can't this week with the Ether Diver unless you CC it out. This pull is actually really easy to do if you're doubling. A lot of groups double, they spear, they lust, and they just like annihilate this pack. This Ether Driver will die. This is a 20 and it only has it's a little less than 500k health. Any burst CC or any burst CD class will annihilate this Ether Driver before the sun's even over. And then outside of that, it's like pretty easy. You don't really pull anything else that's inspired in here. Spires is a little bit more favorable this week than other weeks. Just like their like last boss is a fucking... I hate Grievous. I hope they get rid of Inspiring. Like, I don't like Inspiring, but it's also not like the worst thing in the world. Necrotic Wake, new route. First pull's typically pretty fine. Like, this soldier should die pretty quickly. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll still do my giant first pull. Like, I'll grab all of this, and then if like you could be a monk, and if you're a monk, you can Ring of Peace this. But what I do is I will pull the trash a little bit off of the harvester so we can kick Drain Fluids. So whenever Drain Fluids is going to come out, I pull the mob off. We kick Drain Fluids and I move it back on. It's not like hard. It's just a little bit of micromanaging with your positioning as a tank. Nothing else in the first area is inspired, so you should be fine unless you're pulling in patch or the blight bags in the center. Typically, it would be brought into this pull. Sometimes people pull it onto boss, but if you do pull it in, just make sure the blight bag that's inspired dies. They typically die really, really fast though. This pull is fine. It's the Necromancer. You can't kick volleys and stuff, but typically you have the Goliath here to melt this pack. So this inspired actually isn't a problem. Something my group personally has been doing is we have been doing this pull. This is a common strategy. You have your tank go by, they grab Marauders, pull it back here. The Sorcerer will be prioritized. You won't be able to kick the other bolts, but the orb you would use on this pull will silence them. The weapon does affect the inspired mob and the other mobs around the inspired mob, and then everything else should be fine. You can, if you're doing this Necromancer pull, not a lot of groups like to, but if you are doing this, CC this Magus out. Just like Paralysis, Shackle, Turn Evil. Trying to think of other CCs off the top of my head. You can spam Cyclone on it, but you can CC it, and then if you line of sight actually behind these stairs, it'll stack everything up nice and neat. And then Necropolis, like you typically do a pack at a time, so like there shouldn't be too many issues. This Collector can be kicked because he is the inspired mob. This one's a little nutty, this soldier here, because the crafters and the crafter and the collector are a little nuts with their gore splatter. Gore splatter needs to be kicked. This would be the only scary pull though, but a lot of times people end up orbing this pull, so that's it for Necrotic Wake, I'm pretty sure. Theater of Pain, it's got a new route. Great. First pull, most people skip this first pull. If you pull into boss, you need to be very, very careful, because you won't be able to kick this ritualist, or you won't be able to kick bosses. I'd pull it. A lot of people just skip this. Some people pull it at the very end of a dungeon. That's fine. You can also pull this trash into Mordretha, the 5th boss. It should die before like the first set of ads come out, and if they don't, like the ads aren't a big deal. Very possible this week. Theater's a very nice dungeon because most things don't need kicks. Like the captain is the kick. Yeah, you can't get CC, but it's not really that scary. But a lot of high-end groups will skip this. That's fine. This room is super nuts because of the blighted sludge spewers. The withering discharge needs to be kicked. There is one mob that is inspired, but it's a refuse, which they leap all over the place anyway, so the likelihood of you getting a kick is still pretty high. So you can still pull this whole room, or what you can do is you can actually just, what I do is like on my Druid is I mass root this pull. It'll mass root only the refuse, and then I pull everything else back a little bit to like right here. And we AoE it down, and then once the sludge spewer kicks are under control, I'll just tag the refuse that jumps in, it gets obliterated, and we move on. This pack sucks. This is the pack you want to look out for. One of the sludge spewers is inspired, which means it's very difficult to kick the other sludge spewer, and it's really hard to interrupt the devour flesh on the tank. So what I recommend doing here is making sure your group has a displacement, explosive shot, ring of peace, typhoon, shining force, thunderstorm, death grip. Don't have another finger to use. There we go. really good if you notice that this one is casting, you can knock this one away, kick, and then this one you can kick already. The tank buster you might just have to eat, just rotate some defensives. Downstairs, another rough one. Sludge Spewer can't be this discharge. He typically leaps out first, then casts it. So you typically find there, just make sure you're focusing the Sludge Spewer first and then focus on the horror. The way I say that, it sounds like I'm saying horror, but I'm not. I'm saying horror. Doesn't fucking help my case. And then this wing typically is pretty brutal. You have like Inspired Split here. Typically groups will do like a double pull here. If you're nuts like my group, what I end up doing typically is I'll do this pull first here. We'll do that. Purple. I typically grab most of this shit, but then what you could do is you can pull these onto like Portal Guardian. That should be fine. This Magus needs to fucking get obliterated. Some groups actually CC him out. You can like Ring of Peace and like knock him out. Some groups just decide to purge and then kill him really quickly. But you want to be able to do it before the Necrotic Bolt Volley, which is the second cast. If this goes off, your group will wipe because it overlaps with the first Soulstorm. And if you don't have a Shadow Dispel, you also have the Shadow Vulnerability, which this is, the Necrotic Bolt is Shadow damage, which will pretty much kill someone, especially in high keys. So this is probably the scariest platform in here. And then what my group has been doing lately is we go here. I find this platform to be much, much easier. But outside of that, like, unless you're pulling like a side pack, which I wouldn't do in here, it should be pretty safe. All right, so Theater is done. We have Streets of Wonder. I don't remember Streets of Wonder being bad at all on Inspiring Week, because you can take most of this one pack at a time. This pack is a little scary with the Specialist. The Officers do this thing called they do the Hard Light Barrier, which adds the Refraction Shield, which reflects arcane damage back at the attacker upon taking damage until the shield is broken. We need to purge these. They can typically be kicked, but with an Inspired Mob up, they can't be kicked. The Specialists cast their Stun, which you can obviously still kick through. I'm reaching an hour on this recording. I should stop. So just these guys are probably the scariest. I don't think anywhere else. My route personally is I skip everything else. Like, I don't pull any of this. This can't be right. Nothing's inspired in here. That can't be right. 1, 2, 3. Post? This might not be up to date. There might be some packs that are inspired that I can't see. I just updated my add-ons yesterday. Well, if there's other stuff that's inspired, be careful. It's like, oh, can't tell you anything to do. Gambino. Let's see. We'll just do this. We'll reset this route, actually. I think. Go to this week. Okay. Delete all drawings. Oops. We'll just do that. Okay. Inspired mobs are really scary in here. If you don't pull inspired with these scale binders, you will have a very unhappy time. There is this one with the relic pack is inspired, and then I think there's one later, like this patrol is inspired. Just be careful there. Don't tag it into this pull. Very bad. Or if you pull around this way for some reason, don't tag it in. Do this pack by itself. You typically don't pull any of these. This pack isn't inspired, which is nice. The only thing that's inspired is the center pack, which only has one kick, so you're fine. Just don't chain this pack into either of the sides, because you're going to see double Tide Sages on either side. If you can't kick Brackish Bolt, your tank will perish in a higher key. Brackish Bolts do so much damage. So much damage. Honestly, like, outside of that, like, this pack you do solo, and then you can still do whatever you want. This is a really easy dungeon on Inspiring. Once again, Gambit takes the cake for easiest dungeon. You know, besides the fact that Plaguefall and Halls and Necrotic Wake exist. That's pretty much it. Awesome. We got through that very slowly. Hopefully you enjoyed this 1 hour fucking commentary of me doing vaults and making legendaries and stuff, but good luck in your keys this week. Not the greatest week. Grievous is a affix that I will always argue to be removed from the game. There isn't a counterplay, and I've had this discussion with people, and they're like, well, you can just heal more. It's like, well, you're arbitrarily making the dungeon harder for either your entire group or one set of players, or a very specific player like your healer. And there's no way to prevent Grievous from happening, where Sanguine, yes, Sanguine will drop from every mob, but there is a way to move the mobs and to like use obviously like displacements to prevent Sanguine from healing. There's no way to prevent Grievous from actually going on someone. If they get hit by an ability, they're in Grievous. If they get hit by an unavoidable AoE, they're in Grievous. If they're a tank player, they're in Grievous. That's not fun. There's no counterplay that you can actually do to prevent Grievous from happening besides like not getting hit by damage, and there's unavoidable damage that exists. So that's like my biggest argument, is that it typically will add about 10% more healing to the key that's required, which takes away from the damage that the tank and the healer are able to do, and sometimes even what your DPS can do. Because they have to play a little bit more like, you know, safer, or they have to spend some globals off healing themselves to try to get out of heavy Grievous. Obviously, these are some problems that only come up on a like individual basis, depending on key and depending on level of key. Not a great push week, still a good week to do keys, and a really good job at practicing control over inspired mobs, because it's really trying to highlight the single target focus. So good luck in your keys, good luck in your vaults. I have some cool stuff coming up. I'm going to talk about, I have obviously my 0 to hero challenge. I'm going to be doing my next episode in the next few days here. We have a, what else do we have? We have a, I think a boss guide. I think a boss guide for Tazavesh. We also have a video talking about, I'm blanking out. Why am I blanking out? We have a video talking about UI, my UI setup and the add-ons that I use and tanking add-ons. So we have a couple cool videos. So if that stuff interests you and you somehow made it to this point in the video, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Also, you can join my Discord down below. Hope you guys are staying happy, healthy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.